All right, guys. Hi. This is my friend Andrew McKensie, and
Hello.
hello, yes, and he wrote a book, and it is called Wester Island, and I read it, and it's amazing, and you guys all need to read it. So, like, we're gonna talk about it. So, I met Andrew in October during my Egypt tour. So we met in Egypt.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's weird that was almost a year ago. Well, not really. It's like nine
Well, it's
months.
October. Yeah. It,
Yeah.
it seems like yesterday.
I know. I would go back in a heartbeat. The next time I want to go back though, I want the Cairo Museum to be. I want the new museum to be up, and I want to spend a lot of
Yeah,
time.
and I want to spend more time on the Giza Plateau. We actually weren't there for very long at all. I didn't even get to see the other pyramids.
No, I know. We went into the Great Pyramid and we did the Sphinx, but we didn't get to see all the other pyramids or the other
No,
all that stuff around there.
it was rush, 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 rush.
Yeah.
But it
Um,
was good to be able to go into the actual pyramid, the Great Pyramid. That was
that was so
amazing.
cool. It was super cool. I never actually thought I would be able to do that. So that,
Mm.
yeah.
And we're lucky we did it when we did, because I certainly won't be doing it for the next little while.
Yeah.
Cliff had to cancel the next one that he had planned with Muhammad, and
Yeah,
that,
with COVID stuff, who knows like when the next time they're gonna like have tours go out and do it. I mean, and I don't know all what countries, but the US is banned from a lot of places right now. So
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Uh, um,
Okay,
yeah.
so
So
you were actually writing when we were in Egypt.
yes, I was, and when I'd finished it and I was going back over the book and the passages that I'd written in Egypt, when I was going back over them, I was immediately taken back to where I was in Egypt at the time. Like,
Cool.
it was usually 4:30 in the morning every day. I'd get up and do some more writing. And I can remember being on the boat on the Nile and having one of those river birds sitting on the handrail in the dark while I was sitting there smoking cigarettes and writing. Or all the places we stayed in Egypt were so amazing. But I was writing right through that. I'd started before we went to Egypt. I was writing right through there, and then I also, after Egypt, I came back here and then went to Holland for a little bit, and I was writing while I was over there as well.
So he's in New Zealand. So
Oh yeah,
yeah. Where are you at in New Zealand?
Hawke's Bay,
Hawke's Bay.
that's North Island, to the right hand. We're on the east coast,
Okay.
so it's raining today, but it's generally we generally have very good weather here.
How far are you from the beach?
Oh, as the crow flies, about 10 kilometers, I guess.
Okay. That's not too far.
Mm.
Yeah, okay, cool. Well, okay, so it's a sci-fi book and it's a dystopian future. Okay, so like what do you want to like let's talk about the book, and I don't want because if you let me talk about it, I'm going to give too much away. So just
Right.
give a little what you want to summarize.
Well, it started out as two ideas. It started out with one idea, and then when I was going through some old notebooks, I came across this 2-page summary of an idea for a book that I thought, oh, this could work as well. So, and that's why, there's the narrator that's in the first person, and then there's the rest of the book, which is all in the third person. Which straight away I was thinking, I guess, I don't know if you're allowed to do this, but I'll give it a go. And I think it's kind of worked out okay. There's kind of two separate things going on, but as you find out, one of them is just in the future of the rest of it. So it's almost like right at the start of the book, you realize something's happened here. Now we're going to have to go through.
Yeah, it's like people who are living in the dystopian future, and then like you're figuring out how that happened. Like, yeah. And you talk a lot about like what I really liked. Okay, so you combined a lot of I guess maybe alternative archaeology theorems and stuff in it, which I really liked. You know, he talks about a pyramid in Antarctica and like the Easter Island kind of Maori heads and yeah, like the electric people I thought was a really cool spin. So yeah, I don't know.
That's one of the big ideas in the book, I guess. The idea that trying to understand what could the fifth dimension really be, and is it something that's, you know, not accessible to us, or are we surrounded by it all the time and we don't even know? You know, like electricity or anything that's traveling at the speed of light. Maybe we could consider that the fifth dimensional, you know, because once you like a photon or an electron, at the speed of light, there is no passage of time, you know, and of course there's no mass either. So I started with this idea that, you know, like we're made up of atoms, which are protons and neutrons and electrons, and we think of those as particles. Well, could you have people that are in the same way made up of, you know, a photon could be called a particle or a wave, whichever you like. But could there be beings that are actually made of only that are made not of matter, of no mass, but nevertheless of a kind of a structure or system, like our bodies are.
Right. It's like not all life form has to be carbon based, you know. No,
certainly you could get into the argument of whether consciousness is whether we're kind of like biological robots, and everything we think is just a firing of neurons in our brain. You've got to be careful going. I mean, you know, I did philosophy at university, so I know about the problem of dualism. Like if the mind isn't physical, then how does it connect with the physical?
It's so interesting because you studied philosophy. Okay, that makes a lot of sense, and because there was a lot of political philosophy weaved within this book. So I mean, you had
politics,
yeah. So he has like an island where it's kind of like a free-for-all island, but there's communists and socialists and a bunch of different people who live on this island. And so I thought that was interesting for you to weave into the whole dystopian thing. And then also I do feel like you had a lot of the elements of kind of like what we're starting to find out in alternative archaeology, where it's like there's a cycle to things, meaning like there could have been a pre-Diluvian flood, or like an advanced civilization that was completely wiped out before, and and then now like this is what could happen again. Like so you even have solar flashes in which was basically okay, yeah, I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, I'm kind of going like, oh, that's when, but it weaves so many of our current like little theories together in like one like nice little like, you know, fictional but awesome story that I just think it's very well done.
Cool, yeah, and well, there's it's the idea of cycles, you know. The almost, you know, Randall Carlson seems to be, he's pretty much of the mind that there's just regular meteorite impacts happening on the Earth. It's just that, you know, they're thousands and thousands of years apart, so we don't think of it as a cycle. But not only that, you know, the idea of Roger Penrose's most recent book, Cycles of Time, which I thought was mind-blowing, which is kind of, in a nutshell, is saying that, you know, the Big Bang is all wrong. What we see as the Big Bang was just a localized supermassive explosion caused by probably a couple or more of supermassive black holes coming together.
Well, yeah, I mean, the concept of the Big Bang, I mean, it's like...
Well, his experiments have shown, he believes that they've proved that they've got evidence of a signature that is from before the Big Bang. And one of his theories is that photons are one of the things that pretty much go on forever, and they would actually survive a Big Bang. So my idea with the electric people is that they've been around so long that, you know, they're from before the Big Bang.
Right. And not that they're gods, just that they have an extremely long life span. I mean, like, I like how they live inside suns or inside of stars, which is interesting too, because like even living inside of planets in general, I think is kind of an interesting concept, because a lot could be going on that we don't know, we don't see, and we don't have any way of ever measuring what's really going on with the sun, or why it has sunspots, or why it does these coronal mass ejections, or what is all really made out. You know, we kind of have this concept that it might just be this solid thing, but we actually don't know, because we have no instrumentation that we can do to probe it or to get close to it, or, you know, we don't know how to measure what's going on there.
There is a probe on its way to the sun. Has it already gone? There's a probe that's going to sort of go really close to the sun and try and find out some more.
What it can, yeah. But it's like, you know, it's like they stuck a satellite or a probe or something, whatever you want to call it, into Jupiter to see like how, like, what's below the gas clouds or whatever. And I think they got, I don't know how many minutes of static electricity they got before it went dead, but it's just, you know, I don't think we have anything that wouldn't melt when it got that close to this. I don't think we have anything that we could do that wouldn't.
Well, I think the way they're going to do it is it's going to be traveling bloody fast. So it's going to skim past. And I think it's got a kind of a shield on it. But the interesting thing about the atmosphere of the sun, you know, the solar system itself is all within the atmosphere of the sun. So, you know, the solar wind. But what's really interesting is why that the temperature outside the surface of the sun is actually much hotter than the temperature inside the sun. Not that anyone's ever put a thermometer in there, but it raises a very, you know, you have to ask, how does that work? It's hotter on the solar wind that's coming off the sun is hotter than the sun itself. How does that work?
How does that work? I don't know. Maybe it's because it's more like you add motion to it or something, and then it becomes
but
and is that even true? Like, I don't know. I mean, that's
like I say, no one's ever put a thermometer into the sun, but I guess there's ways of working out how hot it is.
I also, it's so weird because, like, you wrote this before coronavirus came about.
Yeah, that's right. I came up with the Chinese AIDS.
Yeah, and he also there's a plan for them to
use it.
To use like a virus. Yeah.
I was very surprised writing this, how many things started happening that it's supposed to be, I think, about 20 years in the future. So I was trying to think of, you know, what sort of amazing stuff will be happening in the future, and I'd be writing, and then the next day on the news it'd be like, well, it's happening now. So, because there's also what's happening in part of the book is a kind of a civil war, you know, and that is also starting to sort of happen around the world as well. So, whatever you think is going to happen in 20 years, it's probably going to happen tomorrow.
And I mean, like, you even pay homage to Penrose in your book, and you have essentially like a man-made UFO, which is or like a human-made UFO, which is like
Yeah.
super, which is really cool. And you left the entire book open to sequels, of course,
Yeah.
which you should do. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I mean, Wester himself is a very interesting character. So like,
He becomes more and more interesting as the book.
By the end of the book, I'm like, I have to know more about this dude. So
I really enjoyed creating that character, and this is the first book I've ever written, by the way, in case anyone's wondering. I didn't know what I was doing when I started, but I've written a lot of songs before, but I've never written a book.
Well, you've written articles and things.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, but I discovered that I really like writing dialogues. I've never written dialogues before, and I discovered they're a really good way to convey stuff that you want to convey, almost in a more concise way than just the written word.
Have you ever tried? Like, I've done a lot of scripts, like written a bunch of scripts, and that's a whole other different way of thinking about, because it's like, instead of telling the picture, you have to say the picture. Like, which, and you have to also really consider not sounding the same. Like, every character has to have their own unique cadence and syntax of sentences, and like how they would say stuff, so it doesn't sound like it was written by the same person every single line.
Oh, good.
Which is kind of tricky.
I tell you, this whole writing thing is, I still don't even know what I'm doing, but it's weird. It's like, I don't even know where that book came from. I had the
compulsion to do it.
Yeah, I had the outline of an idea, and I thought this could lead to somewhere good. Let's see where it could go. And I was constantly surprised at the ideas that were coming out, especially if you do get up at 4:30 to write, and you just go from that from sleeping to awake, where that in-between point before you get up, your subconscious is sort of in there. You're sort of aware of your subconscious or unconscious as well, and I think that's where a lot of
your inspiration would come from.
The ideas, I think that's where a lot of the ideas actually came from. Not so much conscious, but maybe unconscious or subconscious.
Yeah, it's kind of like the witching hours or whatever. Yeah, that's actually pretty interesting. So how much would you write a day?
Not that much. I mean, you can see how long the book is. It's I've got. Oh, by the way, let me show you this. You haven't seen the
cover.
I got some printed up. So
very cool.
That's the no art cover, but I went for the look that's kind of like it looks like a Penguin classic or something. So
like Jonah Smith, that's pretty thick, actually. Yeah. I read it digitally.
So I only wrote, probably not more than a page a day, I would say. It's very slow, but my approach was to, like in building, when you measure twice and cut once. When I was actually writing it, I was thinking, let's try and get this right the first time. I don't want to.
But did you know how it was going to end? Like, when you started, like, did you kind of have an outline of like what the end point was going to be?
Yes, because of the narrator, we already kind of know what's going to happen. It's just a matter of how do we get there.
But like with Bonita and like Wester and Ton and stuff, you already had that kind of idea worked out?
No, I didn't have, that particular plot, where the plot went, I didn't have that in mind. So towards the end there, I was having to really think, oh my God, this could go on forever.
And then that's the thing you said, it says Jonah Smith, but that's the guy who's writing that's the guy, that's the character in the book who's in the future, and it's figuring out like how they got to this dystopian. But the author is actually Andrew McKensie here. But like, but if they find it, I mean, I'm going to link it here to like.
Yeah. No, it is under my name on lulu.com. but just for the book cover, I thought it'd be cool to. The very last line in the book is
right. Okay, yeah, the very last line in the book is it's like he
Jonah
signs
Smith.
off as Jonah Smith, right? Who's writing. Did you not consider doing the Amazon thing?
Yes, I looked into that. I think Lulu links to Amazon, but there was the problem. I can't remember what it was. Something to do with being in New Zealand, or it might have been PayPal or something that was you wouldn't have thought would be a stumbling block. But I think I will be able to do it, but I need to. There's something I can't remember what it was, and Lulu is just so easy to deal with. And at the moment, I haven't approached any actual publishers or anything like that. I don't know what I'm doing, and I've been told by writers that unless you've got an agent or something like that, they'll just tell you to get lost.
Well, and I've also like heard. I mean, I fly with a guy who's a writer, and I have a couple other friends who've written books, and it's just kind of like. At this point, there's not a ton of money in books right now, so it's just about like getting people to read your stuff, and you don't need to like wait for somebody for a year before they publish it, and then all the limitations that come with that, and being underneath someone else's thumb. It's like, I
just want people to read it. I don't need the money. I've got a job, but I'd love people to read it and get something out of it. So this is the perfect way to do it. What I did find was I couldn't put it on Lulu for free.
They make you put it for like $1 or something.
Yeah, but there might be somewhere I can put it up for free. I'll have to look into that.
You might be able to do one of those PDF like archive links. I don't know how you do that, but sometimes I find weird esoteric books that I read for free like via that, but I don't know how I do that. But anyway, like it's worth $1. Believe me, it's worth $1. You get it on Lulu. It'll be fun. Do you actually get the proceeds from the $1, or do they basically keep that? Because
no, I had to put in a certain amount of that. The way you work it out is they say how much do you want to make from this book, and you can't put 0, or you can put 0, but they're still going to be charging them. They're still going to be charging. So I think I make $1.50 off each one, and it costs $3.
Oh, $3. Okay, right. Cool. Yeah, the self-publishing world is it's interesting now. It's made this. I feel like it's like the last thing like the music industry went through this, like in the,
Yeah. Did you notice that little book within the book about the music industry?
Yes, I did, about how he was, and how you even quote your own self.
It was the book by Andrew McKensie. Yeah, I'm actually writing that book. So that book is going to become a reality. That's a nonfiction, but that's going to become a reality in the real world, and it also exists in a fiction book as well.
Okay, yeah, I liked that. I didn't know that was going to exist in the real world. That's very, very cool. It's cool. You'll have a way to like link them together and stuff. Yeah. So I mean, I think it's just very encouraging that people should be creative and write, and it doesn't have to be for you don't have to be the next Stephen King. Like it's.
I don't think there is ever going to be the next Stephen King.
Yeah. I
reading books has changed.
Well, I kind of feel like that with like, I don't know, I've gone off of, and I know a lot of my friends have kind of gone off of TV and movies and stuff like that. Like we all are watching more YouTube stuff and watching, even though like I have a whole whopping 80 people of subscribers on my thing, but it's not, I think like, for me, I kind of want to find out about things I'm interested in specifically, and that are going to help me or serve me or give me instruction on something, or that further, I don't know. Like, I think a lot of people are kind of moving towards that.
Yeah. I mean, go back 20 years, people were just watching The Price is Right because that was what was on the TV when they sat down. It was just killing time. I think maybe we're all a bit more aware of how, the limited amount of time we've got here. Do you want to spend it watching some stupid TV program? Probably less and less nowadays, because there's so much more. And there's so much more options.
it doesn't matter what you're into. If you're into basket
Mhm.
weaving, I'm sure there's something in it. But I mean, like,
Yeah.
I've since gone through and watched like every single temple that we went to in Egypt. I've probably watched like 4 or 5 different other people going in and be like, oh, I didn't see that. I didn't see that room, or
Yeah.
kind of like re-examining other people's interpretations of different ruins and all these things. It's
Oh my
so
God.
fascinating.
Did you have a favorite temple on the tour?
Well, I just think like the Seraphim was like blew my mind. Just like what were those boxes? And then the Osiris, like those two,
Yeah.
like they weren't the traditional hieroglyphics and all that kind of stuff, but
No,
like
no. Just
but
massively megalithic.
just so anomalous, kind of going like, what, why don't more people know about this? Like, why am I, like I had heard, I mean, I had heard of all of them like a year or two ago, like since I started getting into kind of alternative archaeology, but like I never learned about either of those places in school or anything like that.
Yeah. It's just incredible. You look at it and go, it's first of all, a lot of those places we saw there, I could quite happily believe that they are older than what the theory is,
Oh yeah, 100%.
even just from looking at them. You know, oh,
Well,
this is
especially the Osiris, because it's like buried deep.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Plus it's got like Peruvian style giant megalithic stones. It doesn't even look like it was made in Egypt.
No, no, it doesn't look particularly Egyptian. It's just such a monumental style. It could be anywhere that people built stuff out of perfectly square
Giant stones.
giant blocks. And how about those at the step pyramid? You know, those you put your head inside those.
Oh my God, yes, the hospital or whatever. And I
Yeah,
was just amazed at how people weren't fascinated by that. I was going like, no, guys, these sound different. And
yeah,
confirmed they were different frequencies. And
yeah.
still working, and they're and Muhammad was just like, it's because of a water table underneath. And I'm like, even
Mm.
if that's true, like they've designed them in a way that they each sound different and they're still working like however many thousands of years later. Like,
I
what is
know.
this?
One
That's
of one of the cool things about not being able to go back for a little bit might be that by the time you can go back to Egypt, they might have finished the underground stuff
thing
they were
at the
doing at the
center,
step
right?
pyramid. I remember meeting one of the guys from the University of Cairo that was there, and he was describing what it's like under, remember that huge shaft that went down?
And apparently they found,
He
yeah, that
was,
huge shaft was scary looking. It was like there was like a bottomless pit that you don't even.
yeah, you can only assume it was for water to go down. I don't know what else. For when the Nile floods, it would come up to there, and I guess it would start pouring in, and who knows. But he said they were taking out blue tiles and a
Well, that's
statue.
one of the guys. He wasn't. I don't think it wasn't Muhammad's son, but one of the other guys that was kind of
Oh, yep, yep, yep.
with us during that time. He
One of the young guys.
one of the young guys. He said that they found what did they find? They found mercury in like in some bottles down underneath the
Ah,
step pyramid, and like I guess he was underneath there with somebody else, and then they took it from them, But he was just like,
right.
yeah, it was like he's like I was like he's like I guess it was mercury. It was like liquid metal.
Liquid metal, yeah. They're very. You notice that the Egyptian archaeologists are very touchy about anyone getting ahead of themselves or getting ahead of them in finding stuff, and once you realize stuff like Abu Simbel, it's a complete reconstruction.
That
And
broke my heart. I was like, what?
yeah,
I couldn't
it's
get over that. I was like, you moved it? Like,
yeah,
and you could even
well,
tell when you were inside, like the hieroglyphics and
yeah.
stuff. I was just going like, it almost made me be like, I don't wish we wouldn't have come here then. I don't care.
I wouldn't go back there again. It's not.
No,
I wouldn't.
me either. I mean, I
Such
feel
a
like it's been tainted. I mean, they were pretty sculptures on the outside or whatever, but
yeah, and
whatever.
if they hadn't moved it, it would now be underwater from the Aswan Dam. So I guess what else were they going to do?
Well, that's true. but don't dam it there then. Like,
they needed the water, I guess, but
yeah, I don't know.
But then some of those other sites were just, I think Dendera, the temple
yes, that
of
was my favorite temple.
Hathor was
That's the one with
just,
the light bulbs, right?
yeah,
Yeah, and
just
that was
just a
amazing.
retro. It was just like a weird energy
No,
being
I
there.
got the entire time I was there, I felt like I was about to get a secret revealed to me, or I don't know how to explain it. I just felt like, whoa, this place is like
Yeah,
crazy weird, crazy weird. There were places like that I thought were amazing. And then places that didn't do much for me was the Luxor temple.
yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of like, it was cool, like whatever, like all of them were cool, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know
So,
what it was. I think it may be the fact that a while ago they decided to build a gigantic mosque in the middle of it.
well, and then you have the Romans came in, and you had
Yeah,
yeah, there was, I think it was just too many stages in history represented, which I guess some people would think is cool.
yeah,
Um, but I just want the more untainted. I would love to go back to the Valley of Kings and actually go to the Valley of Queens and see.
yeah.
I thought that was weird that we only got to go into 3 tombs.
Well, it was so crowded. I was quite happy to get out of there. I don't like those big crowds.
No, but I found that weird that there was that many crowds. But also, I think it was crowded because we were going into the most popular tombs. Like there was a lot of tombs you could go into, but they only allow you to go into a certain amount. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know why. Nothing is ever explained, is it?
No, and then just things like we went to Hatshepsut, or was it Hatshepsut? It's not too far from the Valley of the Kings. The one that's like
But the huge steps going up to it.
huge steps going up to it. I felt like we just walked in there, sat in that auditorium, that little thing, and didn't even explore that temple at all. Like didn't see anything
No.
around there. I mean, I like kind of left the group and was like, like, and every like corner I could, but I
Yeah.
still felt like we made the effort to go all the way up there, and then we just were like,
Yeah, that's
okay,
it.
let's
Now we're
sit
done.
down.
Back to the bus. Back to the bus.
To the bus. Yeah. It was a great tour. Loved it.
Loved
I
it.
have to do Egypt again though. Like
Yeah.
that's just like bare I just got my toe dipped in. Now I'm like, oh wait.
I'm definitely going back. It's so incredible. It's just, I don't even know how you just, when people say, well, what is it about that was so awesome? And it's like, I can't even really tell you. You're just there and it's incredible. And you're looking at stuff that really makes your mind go, what?
Yeah. And not only does your mind go, what, you go like, oh, how come this is the first time I'm seeing this? Like, how come this is the first, yeah. Anyway, in closing
Thank
of
you so
the,
much for helping me get the book out there to some extra people.
yeah. And
Really appreciate it.
I think people should read it. It's an awesome book, guys. So yeah. Okay.
Thanks, Nikki.
Bye, Andrew.
It's great.